Let's be real, man. We back, episode 181. How y'all guys doing?
What is good, everybody? What's good?
I'm back. It's good and back again. It's again. It smells like, it's time for, people to jump on their team's bandwagon for about 2 weeks and then realize that they're probably going 2-14. I'm excited.
Football. We got football. Yes, ladies and gentlemen.
You mean 2-14-1 or?
Yeah.
No,
yeah, you know what I mean.
Steelers like to tie every now and then.
That is true. For some reason.
Oh, man. So y'all know, man, we're doing the Steelers Outlook today, of course. But before we get started with all the rest of our topics, of course, we got a new intro video just released last week. Check out William Phillips. His Instagram is at Willie P13 for all your intro video needs. Let's be real.
Willie P.
We official now, man. I'm telling y'all. Hey, I'm going to keep telling you. Get with us now before the price go up. Start shooting with us in the gym now before the price go up. Because when they do, don't say I ain't warn you.
No, I said get in the gym with us now.
Yep. Of course, got a comment. My guy Ryan here is just a recent guest on the show. Huge fan of the show, man.
What up, Ryan? What's good?
It's Mr. Ryan. I check him.
And of course, you can follow us on Twitter at LBR_media. Follow us, subscribe to us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, you name it. You can rate us on Apple and Spotify and give us a review on Apple. As well, of course, subscribe and hit the notification button for YouTube so you catch our live shows and the aftermath of our shows. And saw the views creep up last week, so, man, we're moving on up, fellas. So that's good, man. Appreciate everyone who's tuning in lately. Next up, we're about to start with our topics. Real talk. Youth league shooting by someone. It wasn't him, but he was there and got into the altercation. Key to lead. His brother was the one who did pull the trigger. Got into it with another coach in the little league game and decided to kill him. So, what are y'all thoughts? Just what y'all whole deal thinking of what happened in that whole situation?
I can go first. Haven't really seen. I'm not sure if there's video or not of this incident, but from reading tweets, reading I think the news article that I saw on Twitter, it's definitely saddening to see, especially as men, we cannot handle situation disagreements in a manner in which we can just talk things out. You see what I'm saying? Like the thing that from this incident, it seems as if Aqib Talib's brother had an issue or something like that with an official or something like that. It sounds as if things were said, things were done that the other person did not like. Therefore, it cost someone's life. And as a father, as someone that I believe that somebody looks up to me, that's kind of sad to see that that person was so willing to take another man's life like that over a disagreement or over a sporting event like that. So very sad to see that we just can't, as men, talk things out amongst one another, figure out what can, how be better in whatever I'm doing, whatever issues that you have with me? How can I make that better for you? Things like that. Definitely saddening to see. I hope, in some form or fashion that as months, days, years, and come, things like that go forward, that we can just be able to sit down and handle things out man to man. And if you can't, if you can't still handle things out, verbally, and express how you feel, if you need to come to blows with somebody and you just fight, then y'all wash hands, be done with it, then it is what it is. But it's no point in taking another man's life over something like, something as small as this opinion.
Yeah, this guy was literally taking precious time from his schedule, from being around his family, and to actually do what he loves, and that's teach the game of football to children. So to me, man, this whole thing was just senseless. I wish I would have known what was the context behind it, what caused all of this. Like, was because typically with our confidants, with our family and parents that are at sporting events like that, you wonder why your child is not playing per se. Is the kind of stereotypical thing. You wonder, like, why isn't my child playing, or why is my child doing this, that, and other. So you wonder if that may have been the case of what may have caused this whole commotion. But again, as adults, you should be able to conduct yourself in a way as adults, even in a heated competition such as football. I don't care if it's little league or whatever. You should be able to handle yourself in such an adult manner to where a person shouldn't have to lose their life over. Again, this man is just taking precious time out of his schedule to do what he loves, to teach the game of football to kids, to have them from doing something else, because he could have just said screw it and just been doing something else. And where would these kids be at that point in time if he wasn't there coaching? So in the end, man, it's tragic. It's sad. It's something that shouldn't have come to this. And as men, as black men, especially when we're in that realm of competition, especially the game of football, we gotta learn how to conduct ourselves better. It's just as simple as that.
So it's weird because ever since I've moved, I feel like some stores are like really close to home, that where I live. And I literally live a mile and a half from Lancaster, Texas. It's the craziest thing. Trevor, like your take on like coaching, first and foremost, because coaching is more voluntary than anything, especially at that level. And you're right, even myself, I coached over the summer, voluntarily for my son, and like I'm the one driving, I'm the one putting in the hours, right? I'm the one showing up every practice, every game, and to know that I have to look out for my life is crazy, right? Because again, all I want to do is, and what we all want to do is instill the love and passion in the game into these athletes. And unfortunately, everybody can't go. Everybody's not going to be good enough to play. And that is a hard conversation that, coaches and parents have. I love to have that with parents. Like, hey, listen, your child just ain't that good. But on a more serious note, from a different standpoint about this, we've kind of changed in a society where like youth sports used to be like really fun. And like you would see people, I'll take myself for instance. I played baseball, I did football, I did basketball, and I did maybe tennis, all in like 1 year because I was just having fun playing different sports. Where now, because we want to coach our like kids to go to a particular sport at like age 6 or 7, right? It's all into one particular sport, and they're not enjoying and having fun to the level that they could be. And then to your point, like if they're not good enough to play, then now it's a problem because I've invested so much money as a parent into this sport over a year's time or more. And I believe that my child is the best LeBron or best Tom Brady or whatever within that particular sport. And we're not just being realists, and we're not just letting our kids be kids. And that's tragic because, yes, it's tragic for the family, but what about the kids that were there too? Like they just witnessed someone get killed at that young of an age. And so who knows how that will spin off for them? Who knows if there was the next, I don't know, Brett Favre, so to speak, in that scenario, but now it's not going to go on and play football because they are traumatically exposed to this type of event and may not want to do this again. So my hearts and condolences go out to the families for having to be a part of this and grieving through all this. And to all the coaches out there, continue to coach, continue to do it for the love of whatever the particular game may be that you want to coach in. But parents, please let the coaches coach. Like I always tell them, let the coaches coach and let the officials officiate. That is a decision, coaches and officiating, that is the common denominator. They have that interaction. Parents, when you get home and you want to talk trash about how bad of a coach I am, that's fine, that's dandy, but we're not going to do that right now. Let me coach because I know what I'm doing, or whoever it may be. But again, parents are overstepping their boundaries in regards to what they're doing. If you want to coach so bad, then you should have been the coach.
Yeah, man, it's beautiful, man. All great points. Why this man got a gun in the Little League game, man? I understand the whole open carry, but why you got a gun on you around kids? Like that's the first problem. And it starts right there. So it easily triggers you when you get into an argument to pull the gun, right? And of course, Key to lead, he got, he's had his fair share of troubles while he was a player, and for him to be involved in it in some form or fashion, it looked like by some videos, it looked like he may have started where he started to punch in the confrontation, right? And his brother was the one who then pulled the trigger. So it just, man, you just hate to see. It's like you hate to see it. It just nothing ceases to amaze me. Like it just random things keep happening in this world, especially over here in this country. It's just like, bro, why are we killing each other in Little League football games? So they just got to do better overall with just as people, human beings. I don't know, bro. I don't know where where we headed in this country, man. Like our minds, the way people think, and just first reaction is to pull the trigger. Had a Little League football game and kill dude in front of his son. And kill dude in front of his son, man, in front of all them kids, man. It's wild. So we just gotta do better. I mean, we is not us, but just cause it's whole people in this world. So anybody got anything else?
Yeah, I think one more thing that I wanted to add to is, again, going to back, Sharky, what you just said, what type of world we live in. Like, the world we live in now is so backwards to where, like, parents are more concerned about their child getting playing time than how their child is doing, or in English, social studies, or in science. Like, that's the thing. Like, I mean, that's the reason, like, part of the reason I don't go to high school games anymore. I don't to go to, like, some of these sports where kids are playing is because parents are out of pocket. Like they are yelling, screaming, caring more. And I get it. You want your son to be the best basketball player, the best football player, the best baseball player, whatever the case may be. I get it. But at the same time, have that same energy with your child in the classroom. I have, friends that are teachers. My wife was a teacher at one point, and to see how parents care about their child's grades and if the school versus how much playing time is my child getting, or how much clock is my child getting. Like, it's so backwards. So I hope at some point again that parents focus on things that actually focus on your child doing well in the classroom versus how much time they're getting on the field.
Well, where that comes from, right? It's either one or the other. It's either one, this is my ticket to a better life, because they're so tunnel vision. All they see is the best way of a life, of a luxurious life for that matter, is being a pro athlete. So they either see it as that, if you're the mother, from the mother's point of view, or from the father's point of view, you're trying to live your dreams through your child, because for some reason you weren't good enough to become a professional athlete in that sport that you're trying to push your child to do. And when all of that gets mixed in, that's a recipe for a disaster. And to your point, that's another reason why I don't go to the high school games either, because parents really do be out of pocket. And I commend my cousin every single day for even taking on the challenge to coach football at my old high school. So, but yeah, it's crazy out here. That is true, Ryan. Everybody ain't LeVar though. That's the problem.
Yep. But like I said, man, just set your situation around, man. Prayers to everyone involved. I think he's already arrested. He had a unique name. I forgot what the key to lead brother's name was. I'm not in front of my computer right now. But yeah, man. Prayers to everyone involved in this situation. But moving forward, back to the actual NFL talk on the field. Mr. Deshaun Watson. They settled. NFLPA and NFL settled on a suspension of 11 games and a $5 million fine. So now that we have to update the actual final nail, the coffin, the actual punishment form, what are your thoughts now after the official punishment?
Two thoughts when it comes to this. Well, I guess three to answer your question, Sharky. I guess I don't want to say excited. I guess I'm not sure what's the word I'm looking for, but I guess I'm more happy to see that, the NFL did punish him and give him additional games more than the 6 that was originally given to him. I don't like how the league went about that per se. They appointed someone to handle this case that I believe was a black woman, and she essentially went off the guidelines in which, they performed under this, this ruling before. She gives him the 6 games, and then they come back and say, oh, well, let's add 5 more on top of that. So I don't like how they essentially belittled her. That's how it comes off to me. It's essentially like they belittled her and made her seem as if like she didn't know what she was talking about. I don't like that. So there's that. Secondly, the NFL knows exactly what they're doing. In terms of, you give him 5 games, cool, bet, that's fine. You get him additional 5 games. But then the very first game that he gets back is against the Houston Texans. Come on now, like that's the league is so bad. It's not your turn. It's not your turn, Miss Evil. The league knows exactly what they're doing. They want ratings. They want people to view or to watch as many football games as many Cleveland Brown games, or to see Deshaun Watson play as much as if their purpose was to make him learn a lesson, then either give him the entire season or give him an additional game to rely. Now, when he's his first game back, it's not against the Houston Texans. I think they should have gone about that a different way. But thirdly, I still have an issue with Deshaun Watson in terms of his lack of accountability when it comes to all of this. He keeps saying that he's innocent and he did nothing wrong, which is, if that's what you want to believe, then that's fine. But then why are you going to rehab? If you're going to rehab, then you're saying to yourself, I did something wrong, or there's something within me that I could be better in, or there's a headspace that I should not be in. And for you to take yourself to rehab for this particular situation, but then come out and, say to reporters and say it to fans that, I did nothing wrong, or, I'm completely innocent in this particular situation, I have an issue with that. And in my opinion, talking out 2 sides of the neck when it comes to that. So that's the 3 things. But I would hope to see at some point that Deshaun Watson can say, maybe things didn't seem right, or, with all the things didn't come out to see that I was innocent in all this, and maybe that I can do better. But he has to, in my opinion, take accountability for it.
Public relations 101, my friend. That's all that is. PR 101. I would say that I'm relieved. I'm relieved that this whole thing has finally been resolved officially. I said 2 weeks ago on the show that the NFL did that whole situation where appointing the judge, thinking she was going to do the right thing as a PR move to say, hey, we care about women. We have this woman judge who's going to, obviously she's a woman and has a way against how Deshaun Watson's behavior is going on. So, of course, she's going to throw the book at him. And then she totally flipped the script on the NFL and say, no, I'm just going to go by your guidelines of what you have in the personal conduct policy. And based on the personal conduct policy, this act warrants 6 games. And, of course, we didn't like it as fans. Obviously, the NFL didn't like it because they thought that she was going to throw the book at him, which obviously she didn't. She essentially held the mirror up to the NFL and said, this is your problem, you deal with it. And the NFL is petty, and I just can't help but laugh at it. The fact that they gave him 11 games right on the button, and his first game back is going to be in Houston, just so we can watch a game between the Browns and the Texans, a game at this point in the season that you might not even care about, because at this point, the Texans are not going to be good this year, and who knows where the Browns are going to be by the time Deshaun Watson returns. We'll get to that when we talk about the AFC North. But in the end, man, I'm just relieved that this is over. And to Deshaun Watson's point, again, that's all PR. Just, yeah, he maintains his innocence, but him coming out and saying that he's going to rehab for a potential problem that he has, which, again, that's just him just playing to the media, playing to the fans to let folks know, like, hey, I may be innocent in all this, but I do have some issues that I need to work on, so I'm going to try to work on them. But I agree with Skylar. If you're innocent and maintain that innocence, like, you don't have to come out and try to play to the fans, play to the crowd. It's exactly right. He's flip flopping. So, but it is what it is. Of course, ultimately, he's just trying to get back on the field. But in the end, I'm just happy it's over. And again, we'll get to the AFC North when we get there.
I want to touch upon kind of what Sharky said a little bit earlier about a man having a gun on the field, and I'm gonna bring this full circle, right? That happened in Texas. All these happened really with the Texans, right? Texas, ladies and gentlemen, for those that don't know, it feels like it's its own country, can do whatever the hell they want to do. And I say that to say, I looked at the laws in regards to sexual assault. If you have a sexual assault case, the minimum is 2 years per case, and up to 20 years. But this is a settlement. Settlement means that there's some guilt on whatever party. And so you're not being accountable for what you did. There's a settlement, which means, because if you were fully innocent, if you believed wholeheartedly that you were innocent of everything, there is no settlement. You're going to continue to fight because you believe you were right, because you did nothing wrong. But when you settle on a case, that means that you are somewhere, you are guilty of what you're being charged for. Whether that is 1, 2, or 20, there is guilt somewhere. And based upon the laws that are in Texas, because he was with the Texans during this time, he should be serving at least 2 years, despite who he is as a person. The law does not say, oh, because you're rich, you don't have to do 2 years. You can just do 11 weeks. 11 weeks of not playing your sport, of not being paid for those 11 weeks. And the Browns were smart. They only paid him $1 million anyway. So he's not really missing money. He's giving $5 million up. Man's got 200+ million guaranteed. The winner in all of this is Deshaun Watson. The loser in all of this is women. I have a daughter. Skylar has a daughter. We have wives. I'll be damned if you're to tell me that my wife or my daughter was sexually assaulted by someone and the court, 2 different courts, stated, oh, well, 6 weeks will be fine or 11 weeks will be fine. Are you kidding me? No, that's not okay. And I hate that, to Sharky's point, the way America is set up and built, that when you're a high-profile person, you receive less of sanctions or what have you, or things that you can take care of easily. Let it be one of us. And on trial for this. Ain't no slap on the wrist of that. Oh, don't go to work for 11 weeks and then go back on the 12th week. What? No, the book is being thrown. At least 2. 2 is the minimum. And so, no, I'm not okay with what happened. I'm definitely not okay with that. And it just goes to show that we lack, America, and more importantly, the NFL lacks intentionality when it comes to women. You want more viewership, you want more all this, you can really get something more from women by this, besides just waiting until October to put some fucking pink on the fucking cleats and socks and think that you're doing something for women. So I don't like everything. I apologize. I went on a little bit of rant of a tangent, but I don't like this, and I hope hope again. Deshaun Watson won, women lost, and the NFL protects itself and gets what they want, which you guys already mentioned. They get to see at least one game of the Texans mean something in this 18-game season.
Man, let that chopper sing, Sheedy. You good. Let that chopper sing. You good.
Yep, man. We got comment from they don't want to pull up. There we go. Yeah.
Shout out to two. What's good?
Yeah. Just trying to pull up. But yeah, I'm actually speaking, man, bro. Honestly, right now, I'm tired of talking about the situation. Being honest with you, it's like repeating ourselves, but now, okay, it's official. NFL proved to do NFL type of things. In the end, again. So you're gonna see Deshaun versus Houston Texans in week 12. Yeah, NFL doing NFL things. The whole thing with Deshaun, like I said last week, none of us know exactly what went on, but there was a lot of women, so that means something did happen. I guess speaking back to Ryan's point about him and his flip-flopping, I understand that with the whole, if you're innocent, just keep rolling with it. But also, it's a chance that he kept rolling with it. He would have been like Kaepernick and not playing no more. So I can see why he was like, hey, I want to play football again. I'm finna just go ahead and settle some stuff and do what I need to do to get back on the field. So I kind of understand both sides of the art on that segue. But in the end, he got 11 games. He was going to play again because he didn't go to jail. So that was already back in March. He didn't get the criminal charges. So I say women, I understand, I guess they need to, some of them are afraid to speak out when things happen because they feel like they get, overlooked or stuff don't go their way. But waiting doesn't help either. And this is a prime situation of this had been going on for a while. So that's why it is a he say, she say thing, because they did wait to say something. Then after one person said something, then 24 say something, right? Like y'all, yeah. So you tell me about all the women, nobody said anything from the beginning. Like y'all need to, women need to, like I said, I understand why, but I think women will have to go ahead and start speaking out earlier to help aid in this. Even if it doesn't go their way, hopefully, like in the future, going forward, they start coming out more sooner, because when you do wait, they get away with it way more if you wait than if you come out in the initial process. So anybody else got anything else? Hold it. Well, guess who's coming into the stream?
Look at that. As he gets ready, I will say, to push back on what you said, Sharky, just a little bit. I definitely hear you and check when it comes to women speaking out earlier, but I think it still then falls on, these different leagues, these different, people that are supposed to hold these players and policies responsible. Part of the reason why women don't say anything earlier is because they just know at some point what happened with this person is probably not going to be, nobody's going to believe me. So maybe if I wait to 5 more people to say something, 10 more people to say something, then my voice will be heard. I still think that that's part of as a society, we have to hold these players and these people responsible for what they're doing. So again, Shark, I definitely hear everything that you're saying. Again, check, but it's a matter of, if I say, did me, and it made me feel this certain type of way, is anybody going to believe me? Is anybody going to hear what I'm saying? And so, because again, depending on who it is, the answer is probably going to be no. Then that's why there's a bit of a delay.
Yeah. And the sad part about all this is this game is going to be the primetime first game of the day on CBS that week, which is sad. I checked the schedule. Normally the Titans play on CBS here in Memphis, but they'll be on Fox playing against the Eagles that week. So this is gonna be sad. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, and to be honest, and I'll let two go after that. And to be honest, if there wants to be a stand taken, then no one should watch that game. If you don't believe in it, I personally won't watch the game, and I personally won't support what the Browns do until Deshaun Watson is not with them, because I just don't agree with how the situation is handled. But I never was a Browns fan anyway, so it don't even matter.
All right, Took, you got anything?
No, man, I actually heard y'all whole conversation and y'all hit everything on the head. Not too much to say. Of course, 11 games, $5 million. I mean, it's about the no fun league saving face at this point. I mean, we know this what it's about. Especially with their fan base being literally half women, half men. You got to make sure that you do more than give them a slap on the wrist, right? Like if the judge say we're going to give them 6, okay, we're going to double it, 11 games, of course. I know my math, whatever, but we're going to double it just to make sure everybody happy, and everybody's satisfied. But the fact that he's coming against the Texans, Houston, is we living in a matrix at this point. So, I mean, it is what it is, man. Just, hey, if y'all in Cleveland, man, make sure y'all pull up to the National Massage Therapy Convention, you know what I'm saying? So you can learn a whole bunch of new things. Y'all married men, so y'all maybe be able to give massages a little better. Hey, happy wife, happy life is what I'm being told. So it is
Tell
what
you
it
about these folks.
Tell you about these folks, man. I swear.
All right, man. All right, Took, I did want to ask you a question, because you was, I guess, when the whole stuff came out, you was like the one person who was like, kind of like, you didn't believe Deshaun did anything. You thought Texas set him up. How do you feel in that realm now after everything just went down?
I think if he was innocent, of course you gotta fight it. But the fact that I missed last season, the fact that I'm gonna miss 12 games this season, which could be more if I continue to fight it. At this point, I think Deshaun just said, you know what, just get me out there. Let's start playing some football. And the fact that I'm going against Houston my first game, it kind of hit different. Of course, I did think that Deshaun didn't do. I think it was a lot going on. And I still think, where are the penalties for the Texans? We got to penalize them because they knew about this. Ain't no way in hell he done did this to 23rd. How many girls that came allegations or whatever? Ain't no way in hell they known about all this, and it all came at one time. They knew about this shit. So I need some kind of penalty for the Texans as well. Otherwise, it's just the NFL making putting a black man out there on a pedestal yet again as the evil man. But it is what it is.
They're probably on the course to be the worst team in the NFL this year. If you really care about the NFL, don't even give them the first pick.
Exactly. I was just about to say that. If they're the worst team in the NFL and they're gonna tank for the first pick, which I'm pretty sure they're gonna do top 2 pick, the NFL need to take those away.
I would take away their first round pick as a start, but
the Texans knew. The Texans knew, but I'm pretty sure they buddy with Roger Goodell anyway. So I mean.
The owners are the ones that employ him. So, so that's what it is.
I say the penalty for them is they suck.
But
take their first pick, like you said.
They always have.
That was
Watson.
That was Bill O'Brien's fault that they've been sucking like this.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Right. So, finally, get the risk debt whole ordeal out. So, before we move forward, let's go ahead and get a word from our sponsor.
Let's Be Real Media is pleased to announce we are sponsored by Ralph Brand. Ralph culture is surrounded by skates, punk, and hip-hop art. We are looking forward to co-designing materials for this journey with them. Please visit ralphbrand.com for purchasing merch now and for future collaborations with Let's Be Real Media.
All right, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, Skyler, Trev, y'all ready? Y'all Pittsburgh Steelers season preview outlook.
I'm ready.
I'm ready
now. Now that the season ain't started, we ain't played the game yet. I think we can go to the Super Bowl, but we'll see after the first game.
Anywho, I'll start this off. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Pittsburgh Steelers are coming off another 500 season last season, in which somehow, some way, they got into the playoffs. Again, thank you to the Los Angeles Chargers for that. And of course, we showed ourselves as to why we shouldn't have been in the playoffs by getting destroyed by Kansas City. We are now in the post Ben Roethlisberger era of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Praise the Lord, because Ben Roethlisberger has been terrible for honestly the past 3 to 4 seasons, if we really want to be frank about it. The Steelers in the draft did get their guy, their next guy in training, in Kenny Pickett out of Pittsburgh. They did make some moves in the offseason to try to beef up the defense as well as the offensive line. They were able to snag Miles Jack in free agency, which I felt was a good move for the Steelers. Re-signing Minkah Fitzpatrick as well was also key for the Steelers as well. Of course, we're entering the deal, TJ Watt's new deal that he signed last season as well. We signed Mitchell Trubisky as our interim quarterback, because we know Kenny Pickett's the guy, but he may or may not be ready just yet for the NFL. So it'll be exciting to see what Mitchell Trubisky brings as the starter. Of course, we still have Mason Rudolph, which I'm hearing is being shopped at this point, because he's going to be shopped out at this point because he's a career backup. Let's just be honest. He's a career backup quarterback. I feel the Steelers are asking for too much, because they're asking for at least a third rounder for Mason Rudolph, but that's a little high. That's neither here or there. I think the Steelers team going into the season is going to be really competitive. Again, we'll get to the rankings of the AFC North when we get to that. The Steelers are going to be highly competitive. I don't think they'll be a fringe playoff team, but I wouldn't be surprised if they somehow got in. I think we're going to see a lot more of Najee Harris in the offense, and I think having Mitchell Trubisky at the quarterback, having someone that's a little bit more mobile than Ben Roethlisberger will probably work some ways for us as well. And to be honest, we have a underrated. I'm going to go on a limb and say we have the most underrated receiving core in the NFL right now. Head off by Deontay Johnson, who just got his deal. Chase Claypool, whenever he decides to play and stop talking, he's formidable as well. George Pickens, Jesus Christ, I can't remember if he's dropped the pass since training camp. Let's just be George Pickens is a dog out of Georgia. Pat Freiermuth, our tight end, is actually formidable as well. I see the Steelers being very, very competitive. They have their schedule. First half of their schedule is fortunate. And I'll kick it over to Skyler and let him add anything, and then I'll touch on that schedule.
Trevor, you pretty much touched everything. Steelers offseason was interesting, led off by the news of Mitchell Trubisky. I don't think anyone else saw that. But definitely understand that, why they went after him, definitely the bridge quarterback. You kind of knew that they were going with quarterback in the draft, whether that was Kenny Pickett or Malik Willis in the draft. As you know already, they went with Kenny Pickett, who, take it for what it's worth. I know it's training camp and I know it's preseason, but had a pretty good training camp, had a pretty good first game in the preseason, led the Steelers to a game-winning touchdown drive at the end of the game. So that went well. There was also the signing of Miles Jack from Jacksonville to essentially help Devin Bush, who has not been a bright spot for the Steelers at the linebacking position. Cornerback, again, is still one of those positions that we have circled, that we have questioned in years past, and it's still, in my opinion, they didn't do much to address it. So that still gives me a bit of a concern. Offensive line is still a bit of concern, probably not as much as it was last year. But then, the biggest question right now is quarterback. If you don't have a quarterback in today's league, then you, in my opinion, you do not have a football team. You do not have a playoff NFL team. So there's that. So we shall see. Again, I'm still, in the back of my mind, still questioning Mike Tomlin, not in the regular season, not what he can do as a coach in the regular season, but what he can do when it comes to the postseason. Definitely, again, I hear everything when it comes to, he has not had a losing record or a losing season since he's been. He makes do with what he does, with what he has at disposal. Again, get it, check. But when it comes to the postseason, yet again, as you mentioned, Trevor, the Steelers got absolutely blown out. I'm not concerned. I'm not worried about losses in the playoffs. It happens. But when you're losing by 30 and 40 points and you're giving up 40 and 50 points to the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Kansas City Chiefs, and whomever else we've lost to in the past years. That's my concern. That's my issue. If you're going to be held as a top or a top 10 coach in the league, then you cannot continue to get blown out in postseason games. That's how I feel. Take it however you want to take it. But we should see. We'll get into the AFC North rankings here in a second. But as of right now, again, I'm not going to say that Pittsburgh Steelers can make the playoffs, but I'm very interested and at least excited to know that, one, there's no Ben Roethlisberger, thank God. So we shall see what the defense looks like, and we shall see what the offense looks like, especially with George Pickett, Kenny Pickett, potentially getting time here in the in the early parts of the season.
Okay.
All right, time for questions. I guess I'll start first. I heard Trevor, you was mentioning a lot about Mitchell Trubisky. I walk around, y'all know I'm still working, just moving to the new house. But who do y'all, is Mitchell Trubisky expected to be the starting quarterback, or is it truly a competition between him, Mason Rudolph, and Kenny Pickett?
So far in training camp in the preseason, it was a 3-guy battle for the starting quarterback spot. Mason Rudolph is the odd man out because Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett have looked good, respectively, since they've been on the field these first couple of games. We'll know more about Kenny Pickett today as he'll be starting for the Steelers against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So we'll be able to get some more insight on him. But I believe if you were to ask me right now who would be the week 1 starter, it'll probably be Mitchell Trubisky. And I think him getting a fresh start in a new offense with not dealing with Matt Nagy, I'm not saying it's going to help tremendously for us, but I think just him having that fresh start could work somewhat. But I do believe if you were to ask me right now, week 1, who would start, it'll be Mr. Trubisky.
Yeah, for y'all first preseason game. My bad, Scott.
I think it'll be Mr. Trubisky unless it absolutely balls out the next season. It's not your turn. I think it'll be Mitch Trubisky to start unless Kenny Pickett absolutely out of the water the last couple weeks of preseason, and practice as well too. I think they signed Mr. Trubisky with the thought or the understanding that it may take Kenny Pickett a while, or Mr. Trubisky or at least could be running the helms of the first string offense parts of the beginning of the season. But if Kenny Pickett again can do what he did last week against number 1s and number 2s, then I think we'll still see Mitchell Trubisky week 1, but we could probably see Kenny Pickett week 4, week 5, depending on what the schedule, what the energy is like around Kenny Pickett as well.
Yeah, that first preseason game, and I think it was like third. He came in the second half. Kenny Pickett, it was like third stringers, but you can kind of tell when a quarterback has it. Like, it won't be long before he started, in my opinion, from just
had
that.
12 of 15, 95 yards, 2 touchdowns, including the game winner. I think he had a run in practice. I know it was practice. Had a run in practice with the second stringers where he was 15 of 15 before eventually throwing an interception. So it's something there with Kenny Pickett. Now, whether or not he's ready, that remains to be seen.
Sorry, this is questions, right? I just want to make sure. Okay. So I heard something was mentioned about the receiving core. So my question to you is, where do you rank this receiving core? And you don't have to be like number 7. So is it like a 1 through 10? Is it 11 through 20? Is it 21 through 30? Like, where do you, if you could put it like in between 5, right? Where would you rank your receiving core?
I would put it in that 11 to 20 range. As of right now, I mean, I'm not saying it's one of the best in the league, so I can't put it in the top 10. But I really do believe that this receiving core is formidable. Like we see, I know what Deontay Johnson can do when he catches the ball, because God knows he has too many drops for my liking. We know what Chase Claypool can do. We saw what he had a terrible sophomore season, but we know something's there just by what he did in his rookie campaign. We got glimpses of George Pickens, who is a straight up dog. And then I didn't even mention Calvin Austin III, who's getting to run. So with Memphis, and Anthony Miller would have been something, but unfortunately for Anthony Miller, he's going to be out. He's going to miss some time as well. So if I were to rank the Steelers receiving core right now, it will be in that 11 to 20 range, probably the sub half of that, between 15 and 20. But I do think it's underrated.
And to add on to that question as well, is this the best receiving core in the division?
In the AFC North,
Man, disrespectful.
no, I wouldn't say that. No, that clearly goes to the Cincinnati Bengals right now. That's clear. That's not even a question.
No, that's arguably the best receiving core in the league. Boy,
Yeah, that's why I say
disrespectful out here.
That's why I say
That question.
The Steelers is underrated, but comparing it to the Bengals is not even a question. It's obviously the Cincinnati Bengals.
Cool. Actually, it was
Any more questions?
Sheedy kind of asked it, but I just want to know like how confident y'all were. I guess Scott will come back, but just like how confident are you in your receiving core? I guess on a scale of 1 to 10. To get the job done, just to, if you say y'all want a 500 record, do y'all actually trust your wide receiver core to get the job done? Scale of 1 to 10.
Scale of 1 to 10, I would actually go with 7. Because again, I honestly believe Chase Claypool will have a bounce back year if he's still on the team. Because of course, there's rumors going around. Also, with him being in trade talk as well, to look to possibly acquire Roquan Smith from the Bears, but I don't know how true those are or not. But I expect Chase Claypool to have a bounce back year. George Pickens, I've seen enough of him in training camp and preseason to know he's going to be formidable. Again, Deontay Johnson, he got his money now. Now he's got to prove it on the field. As long as he's not dropping passes, he's going to be okay. And interested to see if Calvin Austin does get on the field, what he can do. I'm pretty sure he can make something happen because we saw what he did at Memphis. And I guess with Matt Canada now being able to have a little bit more free reign in the offense now that Ben is gone, it'll be interesting to see how he's utilized. And the same thing with Anthony Miller once he gets back healthy, if he's able to get some reps as well. So scale of 1 to 10, I'll go with 7. That's probably as high as I can go.
And of course, it's like a coincidence me wearing the I'm So Glad. Shout out to U of M. Y'all got both, U of M Tigers and Calvin Austin and Anthony Miller.
Yeah.
Do you expect both of those players to make the team, the final cuts?
I think they're both on the roster now. I have to check. I know Anthony Miller is, but he's out right now. He's going to miss some time with an injury. I do expect Calvin Austin to possibly make the last roster because outside of Pickens, Claypool, and Johnson, I'm not sure who else we have right now. I got to check the roster. And then, of course, we got Pat Freiermuth, our tight end, who's a stud as well. So I fully expect Calvin Austin to be on the roster in some capacity, whether it's in special packages on the offense or special teams. I expect Calvin Austin to be on this roster.
Shout out to Tuke for taking my question, man, about Anthony Miller. So it's good to know he's going to make it.
Yeah. I think Ryan had a question too, and he asked, will the Steelers keep 3?
Yeah, I was about to go to that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
I do think the Steelers.
That was one of my next questions too.
Yeah, I think the Steelers will at some point keep 3 quarterbacks. Mason Rudolph just will not be one of them. Because I think finally the Steelers are seeing what we've seen for the past couple of years. Like, we're in year 5 and you're still losing out to Mitch Trubisky. You couldn't beat the Lions. Let's just be honest, who were the worst team in the NFL last season on a regular game. You eventually ended up tying with them. We saw you a couple seasons ago when Ben was out for the whole season. You lost your job to the Duck, who essentially had a better season than you. And so I do expect Mason Rudolph to be moved at some point. Again, like I mentioned earlier, the Steelers are asking for a 3rd rounder, which I think is pretty steep.
What?
Yeah, that's pretty steep. I honestly would. The highest I would ask was probably been a 4th, between a 4th and a 6th, but the Fifth is a nice little middle ground. I like for a fifth, but a third, that's just that's out of the question. I think it's because of teams now that are in need of a quarterback, which is probably why they're asking for a third. I believe the Jets need a quarterback now that Zach Wilson's out. I'm hearing Detroit is in need of a backup as well for Jared Goff. I can see it, but again, a third is just too steep for Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, they need a backup in Detroit. Skyler back.
Wi-Fi wouldn't let me be great, man. That's
man. But Trevor held it down. I don't know if you want to answer any questions. Do you think the most recent question from Ryan? Do you think the Steelers will keep three QBs?
Hell no. In my opinion, they only got two anyway. They only got two. So if they think they got a third one, they need to get rid of them.
Man. Now, also, last question from Tuke. He just asked about Anthony Miller and Calvin Austin. I'm pretty sure Calvin Austin he just got drafted. Do you think Anthony Miller makes the roster? I know he's hurt right now, so he's probably gonna make it on IR regardless. But do you think he makes it if he's healthy?
Probably not to start the season. He probably won't start the season, but I think in some form or fashion he'll probably get on the field. Maybe if there's special teams, maybe there's a return man or kick return like that. So, he may not start the season necessarily roster, but I think he'll find a way. Sure, he has, and Mike Tomlin loves speed at the receiver position, and we have not had a good kick returner or punt returner since Brown. So if nothing else, Calvin Austin. So I think they did sign somebody. I remember his name off the top of my head. Who's a specialist. So we'll see how he works out.
I forgot to mention that. I forgot his name.
Yeah, but I think Calvin Austin, he'll find a way on the roster for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Any more questions? Ryan said he was not a Steelers fan. That's what Ryan said.
Stay in your lane, Ryan.
I know somebody may ask this, but I'll go ahead and provide it. If I can provide a win total for the Steelers, I will go within the range between 9 and 11 because they have a reason that and we'll get to it again. They have a reasonable schedule to start the season. Like the first half of the season going into their bye week is fairly easy.
Hey, Trevor, you might as well go and kick it out, dog. AFC North predictions.
All right, I'll go ahead and
just started.
Right. So with the AFC North, honest and truthfully, the Cincinnati Bengals should run away with the AFC North. They, on paper, they have the most complete team out of all the 4 teams in the AFC North. But somehow, some way, things happen, and somehow, some way, Pittsburgh ends up being fortunate somehow. As we all know, Joe Burrow is out right now. He just had a appendectomy, so we don't know his status yet. We know he's back on the field doing 7-on-7. So who knows if he's going to be available for Week 1 against the Steelers. So that remains to be seen. I if the North can be open, but again, I really feel that if everybody was healthy, Cincinnati will probably run away with this. So I'm not going to say Pittsburgh will not win this division. I'm just going to be honest with you. I still think that Cincinnati, even though they'll probably be without Joe Burrow for some time, they'll still find a way to get things clicking, whether it be towards the middle of the season or towards the end. They'll find a way to get things clicking and find a way to run away with this division. The Cleveland Browns, obviously, we just talked about Deshaun Watson. They're going to be without Deshaun Watson for a majority of the season. I don't have them finishing above 4th. They're obviously going to finish in last. The Ravens are very formidable, but fortunate for the Steelers don't see the Ravens until the second half of the season. And for some reason, Lamar Jackson always struggles against the Steelers. But I do think that Baltimore finishes in second, and I have Pittsburgh in third. However, I honestly would not be surprised if Pittsburgh's in second or if Pittsburgh won this division.
I'll be with you. I'll be very, very shocked. And it more so has nothing to do with the Steelers. It's more so understanding who the Ravens are, who the Cincinnati Bengals are. The Ravens, when healthy, for the most part, is if not one of the best teams in the AFC North. We saw what Cincinnati was able to do last year, and I think they'll have some form of a. Granted, they didn't win the Super Bowl, but I think they'll have some form of a Super Bowl lag for the run that they went on last year. So there's that, and if nothing else, the weak spot that team have last year, that's the one area they addressed. Granted, corner is still not the best for them, so there's that. But if you're talking about on the offensive side of the ball, Cincinnati is going to be one of the best teams, not in the AFC North, but in the AFC and probably the league with who they have as Joe Burrow, who they have a receiver and things like that. So I think if I had to pick an order, I think it'll be a very close race between the Ravens and the Bengals in terms of the number one spot. So I think I'll still go with the Ravens because of their defense, because of Lamar Jackson. Granted, I think there's two reasons as to why Lamar Jackson has not developed as a passing quarterback. I think that's half of Lamar Jackson. I think that's also half of Baltimore. But I think their defense will be top notch or very hurt in the secondary last year, which is why their defense was so bad. And so I think I don't think you can have two injury-ridged seasons like that so because of that, I think I'll still go Baltimore 1. Cincinnati will be right there. They take a step back just a little bit and be there at 2. Steelers at 3. The Cleveland Browns will be at 4. Is how I see that happening. Somebody mentioned that the Baltimore is going to be clinching that division early in the year. That won't happen. I don't know last time the AFC winner did not clinch anything earlier than week 16. It ain't happening. This division literally beats up on each other every single year, which is why we a lot of times have sometimes 2 or maybe even 3 teams in
that last game for the Ravens of the season is against Cincinnati, and I guarantee you that will be for the AFC North.
Yeah, it'll come down to the last week. It'll definitely come down to the last week of the season for this winner.
Yeah.
You want to go, Tuke, or you want me to go?
You got it.
All right. Let's go ahead and start with the bottom of the barrel, fellas. The Browns, Pitts, number 4. We're not even going to discuss them anymore. Don't need any more talk time on here. I know it's going to be a consensus, but I'm going to go ahead and say it again. The Cleveland Browns will be the worst team in this division. Now, I think Skylar said that, Cincinnati took care of their maybe necessarily their number one concern was the offensive line. And, this is a team that was one great Aaron Donald play away from turning around that Super Bowl. As you look back at that. So and they reloaded, right? And, they're not – Eli Apple's not the best corner. I know. He's not at all. Applesauce if you want to, if you're nasty. But, he's back with the team. I still got Cincinnati winning this division. Now, second and third, I believe, is more of the Pittsburgh and Baltimore conversation. And to your point, Trevor, you talked about Pittsburgh starting. You got at Cincy, Pats, Browns, Jets, Bills, Bucks, first 6 games. And, I mean, you got to beat the Jets. That's a given. But I think, entertaining the Bucks, going to Buffalo is going to be difficult. At Browns, I think the Pats are a little bit different than what we perceived. And then at the end, right, so both Baltimore and Pittsburgh pretty stellar at the end. They both played each other twice. Baltimore's got the Broncos at Cleveland, Atlanta, at Cincy. I don't think that game at the end of the season will be for the division. I think that will be for seeding purposes in regards to is Cincy going to be 1 or 2, and is Baltimore going to make the playoffs? And I think Baltimore will have more to play for in that game than Cincinnati. And then Pittsburgh, I can't remember y'all's last game, but I mean, y'all play the Falcons, who again is the class at the bottom of their division too.
Last game is.
I'll be there.
Last game is against the Browns in Pittsburgh.
Against the Browns, yeah, and the Browns will be doing nothing but clearing out the stands for y'all to win that game. So that doesn't even make sense there either. So y'all, that's an easy win. So I think it's going to come down to the end of the season for both teams, last 6 games in particular. I just believe in Baltimore a little bit more. I think you guys talked about it already. There's not a quarterback controversy in Baltimore. Once they take care of Lamar's going to be that guy. And then I think their defense, I've said this multiple times, they don't have to have studs in Baltimore. It's the scheme of Baltimore that continues to be there. And last time I checked, their defensive coordinator is still there. And they plug and chug and they do what they got to do. And so I got Baltimore 2 and Pittsburgh 3. And then again, I'm not speaking about the other team in the bottom.
Yeah.
My bad. All right, so for my rankings, I'm agreeing with Ryan literally with everything. I got the Ravens first, Bengals second, Steelers third, and the Browns fourth. I think we think about the Ravens, Lamar Jackson is playing, for a contract. So I expect them to have a great season as well. We talk about their defense. Their defense did get better. Signing Kyle Fuller, Marcus Williams, also using their first round pick to draft Kyle Hamilton, who was the first safety chosen. So apparently they liked him with that. They also got better with the offensive line. So when you talk about, the Baltimore Ravens getting better on the offensive line, protecting Lamar Jackson to have a great season, which I'm expecting him to have, because he's expecting to be paid, right? I don't expect them to finish early, to clinch the division early. However, I don't think that it'll be. I think they'll win the division by probably 3 games. It all depends on when my guy Joe Shiesty comes back. But I don't believe in players coming back off an injury into the season. I'm never a believer in that. I could be wrong, but if you come into the season unhealthy, you're gonna end the season unhealthy. That's always how I felt. Number 2, the Super Bowl setback. It always happens. Especially with me watching my Panthers go from up here to down here, and everybody else, we got the Eagles that did from up here to down here. We got the Cowboys who, I ain't got to talk about that. We ain't talking about that right now. But the Super Bowl curse is actually real. But I don't expect them to fall too bad, because they still, from top to bottom, on paper, got one of the most talented teams on paper, and they did get better. So I got the number 2. Like I said, number 3, I got the Pittsburgh Steelers. And of course, the Browns, Doo-Doo Brown, we ain't got to talk too much about them anymore. So, yeah.
All right.
Yep. Go to the comments. Ryan said he got the Ravens, Bengals, Steelers, Browns. I am him, aka Tyler McGirt. I got, man. He said good episode.
Shout out Tyler, man. What's good?
Said Ravens clinching this division early December. I think Skylar already repeated that.
I mean, here's the thing though, because the Ravens did start off 8-3 last season, and then literally, if you talk about a team that went through injury hell, they end up losing the rest of these games. So I mean, it could happen. It could happen.
And I know early December. That's like 4 weeks left in the season, dog.
Yeah.
Not that division. Like I said, that division.
Yeah, I was about to say, I know a team that quits after in December. I'm not going to say any names, but it's my team.
But, the AFC West, we talking about how tough that division is. This division is just as tough. If Deshaun Watson played the full season, it would be. But him only playing 5 games, that's kind of hilarious. But, they're number 4. I know Jacoby Brissett, he ain't just horrible. And the Browns who got a good enough team where he could be, okay. But compared to the rest of the division, the Steelers, because of Mitch Trubisky, like I said, we'll see. It's a new situation. He might be better. Chicago, want to be honest, they do well being around him. They kind of doing the same thing with Justin Fields right now. So maybe it made it in a bad situation. Maybe he lost confidence. Maybe he needs a year to regain it behind as a backup behind Josh Allen in Buffalo. So who knows? And if he's not it, you got Kenny Pickett who might come out there and play out. So the Steelers, one thing we know about them, Mike Tomlin, kind of like the Titans, we've had 6 straight winning seasons. The Steelers, when the last time y'all had a losing season?
The last time the Steelers had a losing season was 2003, and that was the year before we drafted Ben Roethlisberger. So we're coming up on 20 years since we had a losing season.
Is this the year y'all first year that big win?
Hey, all good things must come to an end. So hey, if it happens, I wouldn't be surprised. I just know right now the over under wins right now is at 7.5. So I'm putting 100 on there for over because I know Pittsburgh can win. Pittsburgh can win 9 games with this schedule. They can win 9 games.
I take the over too. I think just Mike Tomlin, he's proven it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking about, 8 to 9 wins for y'all. So I do have y'all third in the division with that.
Yeah.
And like with potential, I think you said even as much as 11. The Steelers last year they ain't supposed to be nowhere near no playoffs, and somehow got in the mud and had to win the season. Then one year y'all started off 0-4 a couple years ago, and somehow you in the season 8-8 and almost got to the playoffs if somebody y'all fine. Kind of like I said, the Titans do the same thing.
Yeah.
I think it's very similar in that mode. It seems like everybody's on the same alignment. I do have the Bengals. Bengals and Ravens are tough. And like Tuke said, it was what it was. So what if the Ravens had a lot of injuries last year? They lost all their running backs. You know, Marcus Peters got hurt. He got tore his ACL. Marlon Humphreys got hurt. Then Lamar Jackson got hurt. They were number 1 in the AFC, period, at 8-3 when he got hurt, and they lost the rest of the game. And they lost 4 of those games. They lost 4 of those games, so they last 6 games by 1 point. How you lose 4 out of your last 6 games by 1 point? Because the backup Tyler Hunter wasn't even that bad. It's just they literally lost. They was right there. So it's tough, but the Bengals did improve their one huge weakness, and that was the offensive line. They went and got 3 decent linemen from, I think, one for the Bucks, one for the Packers. I can't think of I can't think of all their names either right now. Linemen would be hard.
They got Collins from Cowboys.
Cowboys. Oh yeah, yes sir, Larry Collins. So yeah, give me the Bengals at first. I know Eli Apple's still their corner. Somebody's gonna have weakness somewhere on every team, right? But their defense kind of got them to the Super Bowl. You know, I said that last year. Everybody's raving about the offense. They only scored like 20. They beat up. They scored 19. They scored. I think they beat the Chiefs. They scored 27. Right? They didn't have to score 40 points to beat anybody. They defense had picks. They picked Pat Mahomes off twice. Picked Ryan Tannehill off 3 times. Picked Derek Carr off on the last suggestion in the red zone of the game. So the defense kind of pulled them through to get them there. Did they pay Jesse Bates, or was he still holding out? Did they ever get that resolved, or what happened with that situation? Did anybody know? I forgot about that one. So depending on what happens with that, I'm pretty sure I haven't seen the players just hold out well. Never mind, we saw Le'Veon Bell. I haven't seen a player outside Le'Veon Bell just hold out the whole season, right? Not many. So
you see where he ended up. So
right, with Jesse Bates back, unless he gets traded, of course. But give me I take the Bengals first. It's gonna come out to like last game of the season. Them and the Ravens. Lamar Jackson gotta stay healthy the full season. Last year was the first year he really got hurt like that. It had to be significant time. But and their defense is pretty solid. Their receiving core, I mean, they traded Hollywood Brown wasn't just all that good number 1 option. They traded him. So Rashad Bateman has a big year coming up for him. They lost Sammy Watkins. I know he stayed hurt all the time anyway. But I don't know, outside of Rashad Bateman, that's if he's capable of being number 1. Who else do they got that I can just think of? I know they got Mark Andrews, the tight end, of course. But they do they feed off their running game. So it's going to be between them and the Bengals. I take the Bengals barely, but it won't shock me if Baltimore winning the division.
Yeah.
All right. Ryan had another comment. John Harbaugh wasn't a dumbass going for 2 in the L true.
They won those games against the Steelers. Thank you again, John Harbaugh.
I love the game. But thing is, Ryan, you probably believe, man, they're supposed to win overtime, man. You know, they had backups all over the field, so I can kind of understand. Go ahead and get this done. Let's see, win or lose right here. But moving forward to the AFC East, it should be I think everybody's number 1 should be the same. But let's see if anybody wants to shock the world. What's our AFC East?
I'll start off. Let's just keep it real. Everybody's looking up to the Bills.
Jets, Jets.
Everybody else is looking up to the Bills. The Jets will finish. The Bills. Everyone's looking up, as in the Bills will win this division by a landslide. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It's not going to be close. Let's get the last place team out of the way. That'll obviously be the New York Jets with Zach Wilson out. Again, Jets, we on the phone. Mason Rudolph, y'all need a quarterback. Come holler at us. Now,
we got one too.
Yeah.
Y'all can get them back.
Talking about Sam Donald. Anywho, so with the 2 and 3 spot, this was actually kind of tough because I know Miami had that nice strong close out to the season with Brian Flores at the helm, and of course, everything that happened with them. But really, it comes down to who I favor more at quarterback, Tua or Mac Jones, and that's really a debate there. But I'm gonna go with the Pats to finish in second, just simply because of Bill Belichick. That's the only reason why I can really see that. And then finishing in third will be the Miami Dolphins.
I'm sorry, you said debate. I'll pick up from here. Like we said, Bill's class of the AFC East. They're playing for first or second seed in the AFC period. Tough start to the schedule because, of course, they were, divisional champs. They got to go at LA versus Titans, at Miami, at Baltimore versus Pittsburgh, and at Kansas City in their first 6 games. But after that, it's almost a cakewalk for them. They may go 8-3 after that. You're talking about they may lose their last 11 games. They may lose to New England, Cincinnati, and Green Bay, and that's it. Besides that, you can go and give them first round bye, possibly, but definitely they're going to be at home. And Jets, again, I don't like to spend a lot of time on the worst team in the division. So you got the Pats and Dolphins. The Dolphins will not be winning 7 or 8 straight games again to end the season. As a matter of fact, the way they end the season, at San Francisco, at the Chargers, at Buffalo, Green Bay, at New England, and who cares about the Jets? They may go 2-4 to end the season, to be completely honest with you. And so to me, I'm going to take the Pats at the second seed in the AFC East, who they end with Buffalo twice, yes, but one of those games Buffalo's not going to care about. At Arizona, at Raiders, versus Cincy, versus Miami. I think before they get there, they'll have a good enough record that they can be 3-3 and 2-4 going, through those last 6 games. And the Pats, again, they didn't win last year because of Mac Jones. They won last year because they had Bill Belichick as their coach and had some great things happening on defense that kept them in the game. And I think there was like a game did Mac Jones even throw a ball? Or like maybe 3 or 4 passes or something like that.
There wasn't that many passes. Like 4
passes, yeah. And then when they won the game. So it's not going to be because of Mac Jones. But again, I think the Pats are second seed, Dolphins are third. I refuse to say anything else about the 4th seed. And again, the number 1 seed in the division, the Bills are actually going to be playing for the number 1 seed in the AFC themselves.
Yeah, you talk about division winner that'll be done early December. It's this one, and that'll be the Buffalo Bills. And
this gonna be done by week 6. Let's just be real.
This shit over now.
Right.
This shit over now.
If you're being 100 about it,
it's over now.
Yeah. So if nothing else, I think that the biggest conversation is who's gonna finish 2 through 4. And again, it's preseason, it's training camp, but dang it, Tua is missing passes to wide open people in training camp, dog.
And that's why I said debate. We gonna debate Mac Jones and Tua.
I'm sorry.
Talk about a duck.
I'm sorry, man.
I still went with the Pats here too, obviously, but you know.
Yeah, I totally feel you on that one. So I think I'll go with the Patriots to maybe keep the division close a little bit to what Sheedy already said. Defense is going to be there. They're going to be able to run the ball with no issue. I'm not the biggest fan or supporter of Mac Jones, but I think he does play. He almost has to play a little bit better than what he did last year, and he carried them to a 10-7 season, which is pretty good for a rookie if you're being 100 about it. So I think he probably won't make as many mistakes. I think because they have at least somewhat of better options at wide receiver than they did last year. That's going to at least be able to allow them to win maybe a game or 2 extra this year than they did last year. So I'll go Buffalo 1, Patriots 2, Dolphins at 3, and the Jets. Lord Jesus, you better hope Zach Wilson or somebody is playing better than Joe Flacco. Because I saw a tweet yesterday that said Joe Flacco was on fire in training camp. And my question is, what the hell does that mean?
That was a no. That was a retweet from about 10 years ago.
Gotcha, my bad.
Okay,
I missed
okay.
that. I didn't refresh my timeline.
That sounds better.
The coach Robert Saleh was saying Joe Flacco should be a starting quarterback in this league. He said that
I'm telling y'all, New York Jets fan, Mason Rudolph is right there.
I don't know who is their drug supplier or what they drinking and smoking, but I need all of that because Joe Flacco is not a starter in this league. I'm sorry.
We're just hey Jets, just run us a fourth. Just run us a fourth rounder for Mason Rudolph. We good.
If we talking coaches capping, right? I mean, what's the biggest cap is a coach saying, "Hey, this kid too is the most accurate passer that Tyreek Hill has ever played with." I mean, we're gonna give a cap award out for the offseason. I think that one takes the cake by far. I mean, y'all know me. As long as viewers and listeners been on with Let's Be Real, I'm the furthest thing away from a Tua fan, and it's 7 right. Sharky, you brought up the it factor early in this episode. He ain't got no it factor in him, and I'd be surprised if he end the season healthy. But that's just me. You know what I'm saying? They did their thing last season, finished the season strong, but defensively they were literally mid. Like if you look at all their defensive rankings, they were literally 14 through 17, damn near in every category. Like the defense was mid. Of course, you get Tyreek Hill, huh?
Yeah, they literally they was dead last. They were at the bottom of defense, the first half of 10 weeks of the season. Then the last half of the season, they were at the top.
Right. They stepped up. They balanced it out a little bit. But you know what I'm saying, you get Tyreek Hill, which would be a option for him for sure. You know what I'm saying, if I need to get rid of the ball for sure. But you said it earlier, he's missing wide open passes already to the guy. So it's how accurate is he for one? For two, is he gonna stay healthy? This team is literally the quarterback is gonna make or break them. So that's why I got, of course, the Bills number 1, the Patriots number 2. The Patriots finished number 2 in defense last year, and they didn't lose anybody. I don't believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. We get another experience year with Mac Jones, and his receiver core, which aren't too bad to be honest with you. But Bill Belichick is still there, so you got to respect them. So of course, Bills number 1, Patriots number 2, Dolphins number 3, Jets number 4. So and of course, Jets. If y'all need a quarterback, hey, we got the one y'all got chemistry with. You know what I'm saying? He came from y'all. Y'all can get him back, and y'all should welcome him with open arms as y'all should. And he damn near be free.
Stop it. Sam Donald ain't coming back to no Jets.
I'm just saying he'll be free.
Thank you,
Look, we got a rich owner.
David
he ain't going back to the Jets, bro.
If y'all want to get the cap space out y'all books next year, look, y'all got them. Just give us a 6th-round pick. Y'all got.
I'm gonna tell you how bad Took sounds. It's so bad that he's making a pitch to give garbage that they took away from them. How bad does that look?
Yeah.
You paid to take the garbage from them, and now you're like, you can probably take this back. No, that doesn't look well enough.
You're like, this actually is garbage. I thought it was recyclable, but no, it's just trash.
Yeah, y'all acting like y'all ain't never had somebody borrow them from y'all and give it back.
Well, I mean, be honest.
Okay, to Ryan's point, the Pats, their corners will be a little bit suspect this year. But I still think that just like we were talking about with the Ravens and their scheme, they have Bill Belichick there.
I was just about to say that.
It's just a plug and play. It's next guy up. So I think the Patriots will be just fine.
Yeah. Because Malcolm Butler and J.C. Jackson literally came out of nowhere. So, I fully expect for them to find some corner out of a Rose College or something, and bro be locking up folks. So
bro, but probably have a 4.4 GPA. After Shark, I got a question though. Go ahead, Shark. I'm sorry.
He said Rose College. Wrong for that, man.
So I got the Jets for. I don't know no reason to put them higher than 4, right? Bills 1. I no reason to put them lower than 1, right? All right, 2 and 3. I'm actually gonna go against y'all. I'm gonna go and give. I think the more talented team. The Dolphins are the more talented team. Brian made a great point earlier about the Pats and their offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. They don't have any coordinators. As a Titans fan who saw that for 1 year, and our defense went to the straight bottom with it. He ain't got any.
Matt Patricia called the offensive plays. Matt Patricia was defense coordinator. So, Bill Belichick, I know you Bill Belichick, but you deserve to second guess sometimes too. Matt, I thought Mac Jones ain't bad, but he was a top 100 player. They ain't one of those top 100 player, bro. They supposed to stop cap on this stuff. They in the middle of 85, bro.
We not finna talk about this list. Let's just keep it moving. That's just a way to this is a way to get reaction and get clout. So let's move along.
So I'm not a believer in the Patriots. I don't call play. I don't know really. Not that they're bad. They're going to be in the thick of it. I think if anything, them Dolphins can finish with the same record. But I don't want to come over and say it's going to be a tie for second place. I ain't going to be that guy. So give me Dolphins finish a little bit ahead. Like I said, two of his specials. I'm going to say it's a training camp. He got those weapons. He could just throw a short pass to Tyreek Hill, and he could take it the rest of the way. He could throw a short pass to Jalen Waddle. He could take it the rest of the way. They got Sid Wilson, bro, just dink and dunk with them folks, and they can get you down the field, right? So, main thing with him is the health portion, as Tuke mentioned. I don't know who that backup is, so when he does go down, he normally does.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I'd have him third, because I don't think he's gonna finish the season.
Teddy B, who's a captain of short passes. Honestly, I give him that.
Teddy Bridgewater. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I give him that.
He's perfect for this.
Might as well let him start. Hell.
You might well thank you, Sheedy. You took the words right out of my mouth.
They do it because the Patriots doing the same stuff. Mac Jones is doing it in other field. I don't know who their receivers are.
Yeah,
be honest.
That's true. That's true.
Kendrick Bourne.
Like I said,
Nelson Algor is still there.
I trust.
They got Devontae Parker.
He stay hurt.
I trust Belichick more than who the Dolphins have now. So it's that's the only reason, man.
I can't tell you this. The Dolphins do have a new head coach. I think if Brian Flores is still there, I would possibly say they would challenge the Jets with the division.
I 100% would have had them second if Brian Flores was still their coach. 100%.
Just the new coach thing does matter in there. So
yeah,
I think they're gonna be close. They're gonna be like neck and neck for second, third. For a playoff spot potentially, but we'll see what goes on, man. When season start, we're close to it, y'all, man. We're preseason's been okay. We almost.
I'll be honest with you, I have not watched preseason. I'll probably watch tonight to see Kenny Pickett with the starters and see how he looks. But outside of that, it's just been highlights for me. So, and the other one I did watch the Titans one with Malik Willis against the Ravens. I did watch that one too. So.
Yes, excited there, man. But we'd be remiss to say, man, happy birthday, man. The birthday man over here, Trevor, man.
Yes, the Jesus year has finally arrived. I will be 33 years old on tomorrow. I'm getting up there, man. It is what it is.
Yeah, sure.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, man. Anybody ain't no random troll or not? Any more trolls?
I don't necessarily have a troll, and I wanted to pose a question. And real quick, who is the other division that has a second playoff team? Do you think we're secure on the AFC West? They definitely gonna have at least two playoff teams. But who I'm gonna say AFC North is the division that has possibly two playoff teams.
The AFC North.
Because the AFC West is loaded.
Yeah, AFC North.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do our predictions in a couple of weeks. I know the other week I said I had all four AFC West teams. I might renege on that a little bit.
Yeah, I know. That's why I brought up the double.
I might renege on that.
I said three, possibly four. I may go back on that. So, but yeah, if there was another division in the AFC, it is the AFC North, without question.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, AFC South, it wouldn't shock me both Titans and the Colts were potentially getting in. It don't have to be one or the other. Both of them could potentially get in as well. The rest of the division stuff, so that's why you don't never mention AFC South because the last two teams are that bad. But yeah, that was a great question.
So y'all have two teams in the AFC East?
One team.
It's the division winner, like we said, the Buffalo Bills, who will probably be the number one seed.
Super Bowl favorite.
Like the road to the Super Bowl is gonna go through Buffalo in the AFC. You can put that
because AFC West is gonna beat up on themselves.
Yeah.
I don't think I can bet against Bill Belichick twice, and I'm.
Shit, I can.
I mean, I made some good points.
I
can.
Double or nothing.
All right.
Yeah, I can.
He didn't look too good last year.
Points about the coaching though, like that's something to think about for sure.
Yep. All right, man. So remember it, y'all. I already know, man. Follow us on Twitter, LBR_media. Subscribe on YouTube and hit the notification button. Like I said, we see them viewers creeping up, man. Appreciate everybody supporting, continue to support, and especially like Ryan, man. He tuned in every single episode, so man, appreciate everybody. Definitely show love to us and promote us. Remember to subscribe to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can rate us on both and give us a review on Apple. And podcast platforms you get your podcast from as well. Remember to follow me on Twitter at @the1_P_Shark.
I'm at _Skylight on Twitter as always. UFC 278, ladies and gentlemen. It's tonight. Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards 2. Should be a good fight.
That's what's up. Well, the birthday guy, I'm at the Art of Trevor. That's my starting 5 stick.
Oh man, it's really shitty, man. Look forward to seeing y'all next week as well.
Sir, Ed Tev Shakir, appreciate y'all for rocking with us.
Hey, I got a request, and I know this may be a troll, but can we add some orange to our intro video for me and Sharky's purposes?
No.
Memphis, not Tennessee. Memphis.
I'm trolling.
Tennessee.
Big
Let's
troll.
be real. Commandment number.
I'm trolling. I know commandment number 2. Don't answer questions you already know the answer to.
Right.
Do not ask questions you already know the answer to. There you go.
I ain't cool with the troll or not, Al. Very cool. Birthday. Very cool for the birthday, man. I tell you.
I'm trolling. It's
3 Hardaway. Oh, yeah, as well, man. Y'all need to put up y'all podcast. She and Tails, man.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. It's 3 the hard way. We got some heat coming for y'all Monday, man. Just make sure you ready on Monday for commute. To discuss some things we got coming up. Talk about the schedule, some other stuff as well too.
Yes, sir. We're definitely a good basketball podcast that'll be in y'all. That should be on y'all feed if you're listening. Definitely check us out. 3 the hard way. More coming. I can't wait to the season. Y'all know me. I'm a basketball head, so I definitely can't wait. But definitely before the season, get into the season, it's gonna be some fun getting there.
Yeah, he's a basketball head and he loves the Nuggets. He loves McDonald's Nuggets.
I find it funny that I have the nickname League Pass Trevor, but I'll wait on my invitation from y'all.
Yeah, right. Feel something. All right, y'all. Well, of course, man, starting 5. We will return at some point, man. We were in the see.
It's been relatively quiet for the Grizzlies, man. So it is what it is.
Man, we will return at some point in time. And also, our next episode next week, we are doing with Cowboys Outlook. We have a guest. Y'all may remember him from the past. That's a Giants fan that's coming on the episode.
Danny Dime.
Oh, Danny Dime. Oh, man.
Hell no.
Yes, he's back.
I didn't know. I didn't even know that. I ain't gonna cap. I didn't know that. Oh, damn.
So we'll be on this week.
If only we get Savage on this NFC East talk is going to be hilarious, but it is what it is.
Man, okay, all right.
Hell no.
Peace.